Hello friends, we are back for another episode of Katherine's Quarters. My voice is a little bit gone, so I'm gonna have to turn up the volume on this because I have been living a life, guys. Going to every sporting event I possibly can get tickets, my hands on tickets for. But so excited. Divisional round is over. Championship weekend is here. We are like 2 weeks away from the freaking Super Bowl, guys. I'm so excited. So we're gonna talk about championship weekend. I'll recap a little bit of the divisional round, which can give us a little bit of information for the championship round that is going to be tomorrow. Oh my gosh, so excited. And then we'll talk a little bit about basketball because basketball season has been so fun. Also the reason why my voice is still mostly gone. But we're gonna get into all of that. So let's hop to it. All right, so we have to start with NFL divisional rounds from last weekend. It was so much fun. I mean, all of the games were good. Honestly, barring the Eagles-Giants game, all of the games mostly came down to the wire-ish. Like Bengals-Bills didn't really come down to the wire, but we'll talk about that. We're gonna start out with the Eagles-Giants game because my Eagles guys, they have been so disrespected, and I have heard all season long they haven't played a team. Jalen Hurts can't throw from the pocket. The defense is amazing and all of that good stuff, but don't give them credit when it comes to playing a team like the upcoming team they have to play, the 49ers. Wild. But either way, so the Eagles-Giants game was like 21-0 at halftime. Just kidding. Jalen Hurts ran it in for a touchdown right before the half. It was insane. Literally, everybody was talking about Jalen Hurts' shoulder. They were all, his shoulder is still hurt and he's not gonna be able to throw. They're gonna have to run the ball a lot, which we also do well, so there's that. But Jalen Hurts on the second play of the game throws a beautiful deep ball to Devonta Smith. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. Because of course, everybody was talking all week about how the Giants were gonna upset the Eagles because the Eagles team is just not that good. They're just not that good for whatever reason. One of the best offenses in the league with some of the best skill position players. We have one of the best duos at wide receiver, Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. Miles Sanders, Kenneth Gainwell, also include Jalen Hurts, but then also Boston Scott. Like, our running game is beautiful. Our O-line is excellent. Our defense is unreal. They have the most sacks in the NFL, 70 of them, 70, 15 more than the next team, which is the Chiefs. I just want you guys to understand, the disrespect has been so real. Everybody was so excited about Daniel Jones and Brian Dable, and look at what he's done, and everything is so amazing for the Giants, and the defense has come on, and blah, and blah. And we held them to a 0 egg until the middle of the third. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with the Eagles. I don't care how much you dislike the fans. I don't care if you think Jalen Hurts is just a mediocre quarterback because he can run the ball the way he can, and he literally in an off season learned how to throw the ball to amazing heights. I don't want to hear it from anyone. You guys are all ridiculous. It drives me nuts. Okay, it drives me freaking nuts. They are going to play the Niners this weekend, and the Niners obviously beat the Cowboys on Sunday. So much fun to watch that game. My sister wanted to go out because one of her friends was in town. He's a huge Cowboys fan, and so we go to like this hookah bar that also has a big screen game on. We're sitting there having drinks and eating and smoking hookah and having a good time. And watching the game, and honestly throughout the game I was like, I honestly don't care who comes out of this game. It could be the Cowboys, it could be the Niners. I almost would have preferred the Cowboys because Dak loves to throw an interception, but I was like, we could also play the Niners. The Chiefs, Bengals, Eagles-Niners matchups are literally what we deserve. The Cowboys-Niners game was interesting to start. And to be fair, I was happy that the Cowboys played the Niners because the Eagles had already won their game. One, we're gonna learn who we're gonna play, and we're gonna have seen them go up against either a team that we've played twice this season already, beat once, lost once, or we're gonna play a team that we haven't seen, but we're gonna see one of the teams in our division play that team and kind of get a better understanding of what makes Brock Purdy tick, what Kyle Shanahan may or may not want to run. I was feeling good in the spot that we were in. And then the game happened and I was like, well, 19-12? That's kind of an ugly score. And I mean, Dak threw 2 interceptions and Brock Purdy was pretty much just dumping the ball off to whoever the hell, like he's been doing for the last 9 weeks or whatever it's been. I mean, the Niners are a really good team. I also think the Cowboys are a pretty good football team, but it was clear that there's something missing from these teams. I mean, Trayvon Diggs left an interception on the field. Either way, the game was so close that Trayvon Diggs, like, how did you just... To be fair, the defense did what they were supposed to do. The defense had a pretty good game. It was 19 points. I mean, this is the same Cowboys team that their defense has been playing so well, but the offense has been able to put up 30, 40 points. I've been hearing all season about how the Cowboys offense just puts up points and puts up points and puts up points. And this go around, they put up 12. The Niners I'm interested in, and I'm not gonna lie, I would be an idiot if I pretended like the Eagles have this in the bag. So it'll be very interesting to see this Eagles-Niners game. I do think that it's going to come down to Kyle Shanahan and Shane Steichen trying to figure out each other. And I know like Nick Sirianni has a hand in that, and obviously Jonathan Gannon, like that defense is going to have to bring so much pressure to Brock Purdy, because Brock Purdy, his completion percentage goes down when he's being pressured. He is not the same Brock Purdy when there is a lot of pressure, and we have one of the best defenses in the league in bringing pressure. So I really need all of my guys, Hargrave and Reddick and Josh Sweat, Linval Joseph, all of them. I need everyone to be bringing the pressure. In all of the divisional round games, except for the Eagles-Giants game, I'm pretty sure, the team that had interceptions was the one that lost. Like, that just is what it is. When you don't take care of the ball in the playoffs, I believe I said this a week ago or 2 weeks ago, if you don't take care of the ball in the playoffs, you are probably going to lose. Guys, this is gonna be wild. So let's talk about the AFC though. Bills-Bengals. The Bills are so disappointing. There was so much talk about this matchup because the one that was supposed to happen at the beginning of January was canceled because of the terrible injury to Damar Hamlin. And everybody was looking forward to this, to watching the Bengals and the Bills play. And I really thought the game was gonna be a little bit more competitive. But when I tell you that score was 27-10 and the Bills didn't score in the last quarter and a half of the game, Josh Allen looked bad. Josh Allen looked just confused, to be honest. Like, he missed Stephon Diggs on one of his first deep shots to him, and it was just like overthrown by like 4 yards. What are we doing? What is that? Josh Allen also had 2 interceptions. Like, the Bengals, we have written them off all season. I mean, at the beginning of the season, I wrote them off. At the beginning of the season, I was like, you guys drop your first 2 games after coming off of like this Cinderella run to the Super Bowl last year where they lost to the Rams and all of that, and like you come back and this is what you look like. Now I think Joe had an injury going into the off season, whatever. We wrote the Bengals off like super hard. And Jamar Chase was out for a couple of weeks because of an injury, and their O-line has been banged up. We know Joe Burrow will be running for his life at all times anyway. Jamar Chase and Hayden Hurst and Joe Mixon had a field day on that Bills defense. And like, I understand Von Miller not being there, but they haven't had Von Miller in a month, maybe 2. It's wild. Like, Joe Mixon ran all over them. He had 105 yards on 20 carries and a touchdown. That may not sound like a whole hell of a lot. If you just watch the game, he was running all over that defense. Jamar Chase, on one of the first drives, I think they scored within the first 2 minutes of that game. One of the first drives, Jamar Chase is wide the hell open right into the end zone. Hayden Hurst, wide open into the end zone. It's 14-0. Quick as hell. It was just disappointing, to be honest. Like, I like the Bengals. I really enjoy watching them play football, and Joe Burrow is just fun. Jamar Chase is just fun. Like, they have a great group. Tyler Boyd and Hayden Hurst and all of them. They have a great group. They're fun. And the defense played pretty well against Josh Allen, to be fair. Josh Allen didn't run for a whole hell of a lot. How do you lose by 17 at home and let that other team literally dominate you in your house? Bengals moving on to the AFC Championship, and we'll get to that after I tell you a little bit about the Chiefs-Jaguars game. Chiefs-Jaguars game was wild because Patrick Mahomes, he's obviously great, and then he had one leg and we were like, oh no, what's gonna happen? Because he got hit in the ankle, I think it was. And it was like a really ugly injury, so everybody was like, oh shit, Patrick might be done for. And literally in the 2 seconds it took me to think, oh shit, Patrick might be done for, I watched Patrick limp a little bit over to the sideline, say he's good, go back out there and throw passes on one leg. It is the most insane thing. Patrick Mahomes is not human. We've been saying that for at least 2 years now, and another example was just presented to us in the divisional round. It was wild. And then Chad Henne comes in and he goes 90 yards down the field. It was like wild. So Patrick Mahomes ends up coming back in the game. The Jaguars really really tried. Like, they really did try. And I give them that. But what did I say? Gotta protect the ball in the playoffs. And Trevor Lawrence, the end of the game, threw a interception with like 3 minutes left as they were driving down the field. I think they were like 40 yards from a touchdown. Threw an interception, and that was all she wrote, and it was over with. Jaguars fans can feel good though, because they played a pretty good game. Outside of the interception, they played a pretty good game. Christian Kirk and Zay Jones and Travis Etienne, obviously, like, they have a really good core with Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence leading the charge. Like, they have a lot to be excited about for next season. The Chiefs are just, and let me just say about Isaiah Pacheco, that boy can run. There was one, I think it was in the third quarter, maybe it was the second, I don't even remember what quarter it was, but I remember just seeing his little legs chug, and I was like, why he look like a road runner? Isaiah Pacheco and them little legs, they be going, bro. They be going. We'll see the Chiefs play the Bengals in what they used to call the Chiefs Invitational, but now there's a new name, Burrowhead Stadium, and it's just the trash talk between the two teams this week has been. I understand the Chiefs being upset because the Chiefs have lost to Joe Burrow 3 times already. Like, that's not fun. I don't want to lose to Joe Burrow 3 times either. I don't want to lose to anybody 3 times. Like, that's unfortunate. This is going to be a bloodbath. Patrick Mahomes, his ankle is fine. On Wednesday when they had media day, his ankle, he didn't have it taped up. He wasn't limping. Everything was fine. They got like drones in the practice just to see how Patrick's doing. Like, the Chiefs will be fine. And let me just say, if the Bengals doing all this talking, I need them to be the team that figures out how to cover Travis Kelce. Dude, Travis Kelce is on the field. 87 is there. I need you guys to be accounting for 87. It's very difficult to do, but at some point in time, somebody has to figure it out. So we have our 2 matchups. The Eagles play the Niners at 3 o'clock tomorrow, and then the Chiefs play the Bengals at 6, and it's going to be a great Sunday of football. I don't know how tomorrow's going to go, but I can't help but be excited. Honestly, like, I would love for the Super Bowl to be Eagles-Bengals. That would be fun for me. That's really what I want to see. So we're gonna see what happens with championship weekend. Let's get to some basketball. We're gonna start with the Eastern Conference, and I'm just gonna go through the standings again, and then we're just gonna talk a little bit about the teams. Celtics are still at 1, 76ers at 2, Bucks at 3, Nets at 4, Cavs at 5, Heat at 6, Knicks at 7, Hawks at 8, Pacers at 9, Wizards at 10, Bulls, Raptors, Magic, Hornet, Pistons, whatever. So my Celtics. Though my Celtics are still atop the Eastern Conference, they've been on like a 4 or 5 game losing streak at this point. I went to, I'm pretty sure, the last game that I won, the Celtics Warriors game, because I was like, I would just like to see this in person. I watched the finals all last year, super excited, but I wanted to see it in person, like the electricity. Now I have to go to a game in San Fran because the game in Boston was tremendous. So I go in and I get to my seat, and I was like sitting next to these 3 gentlemen who were very kind. Steph hit a half-court 3 at halftime, and I was like, oh, this is what I wanted in my life, just to see that in person and like feel the energy. Even though I'm in Boston, I'm cheering for everything, I don't care. It went into overtime. The first basketball game I went to this season went to overtime between my 2 favorite teams. What a fun experience. I can't even tell you. You can probably tell by how excited I am now talking about it. But my Celtics, top of the conference for now, but they've been on a little bit of a slide as of late. Since then, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be fine though. I'm not really worried about them. The 76ers are coming along, the Nets are coming along, even with Kevin Durant out. Joel Embiid leading in scoring in the league, and he's just been playing really, really well. I mean, the 76ers as a whole, him and James Harden and Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris, like, they look good. The Nets, without Kevin Durant, the Nets have looked really good. I mean, Jacques Vaughn really does have them playing well together. Nick Claxton is really coming on. I need him to figure out how to shoot free throws though, because his free throw shooting form is just, obviously, we know what Kyrie is. We know how Kyrie handles his stuff. And without any sort of like distraction creating, whether it be of his own like doing, or if it comes in from the outside, like Kyrie has been playing really, really well and showing us really like why we love to watch Kyrie play basketball. As much my fantasy basketball team is Don't Listen to Kyrie. That is the name of my fantasy basketball team. It's just been nice to see him handle his basketball business and handle it really well without Kevin Durant there. The Eastern Conference is a good time, but the Western Conference is a different story. The Western Conference is wild, which also brings me back to the point that I made in the last video, where Ja Morant and the middle of December was like, oh, I'm good in the West. It's like the West, the games that separate the teams that are the team that is in 12th and the team that is in 4th is like three games. Post All-Star break is going to be a very interesting part of the season. I mean, even in the next couple of weeks, it'll be very interesting. Nuggets are still at 1, Grizzlies at 2, Kings at 3, Pelicans at 4, Clippers at 5, Mavs at 6, Warriors at 7, Timberwolves at 8, Suns at 9, Jazz at 10. Thunder, Trailblazers, Lakers, Spurs, Rockets, all below that. So there's a lot of storylines to talk about with the West, to be fair. Obviously, the Nuggets, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. and Bruce Brown, all of them looking real good. They are 34-15.
Looking real good.
Now the Grizzlies have gone on a 5-game losing streak, I'm pretty sure. I think in the last 5 games that they've played have all been against Western Conference teams. I mean, they lost to the Timberwolves last night, 111-100. They lost to the Warriors on, what was it, Wednesday? Yeah. They lost to the Warriors on Wednesday, 122-120, which was a great game. I mean, those teams are always going to get up for each other. That just is what it is. They lost to the Kings 133-100. And then they also lost to the Suns 112-110. And they lost to the Lakers. They lost to the Lakers 122-121. Now that game was very, very close, along with the Warriors game, obviously close. And so when it comes to 7-game series, like close games, you don't really get like, anybody could have taken it. But when you lose to the Kings, who are playing phenomenal, by the way, new head coach this year, who we all love, they've been looking good all season. I'm unclear with the Grizzlies right now, and honestly, I could care less if they keep their 2nd seed or if they drop down or if they go up. It doesn't really matter to me because the Grizzlies clearly are able to beat themselves. So I have to say, I disrespected the Kings because the Kings being in the 3rd spot right now is like shocking to me. I thought, you know, they're gonna go on this the first part of the season tear and then it's gonna fall off, and they have not fallen off. They look really good. They've lost 20 games, but they've won 27. Like I said, the split between the 10 seed, who has 26 losses and 25 wins, and the 3 seed, the Kings, is 20 losses and 27 wins. Like, the gap is so small. So any run of any kind that a team goes on is like, uh-oh. Like, I think the Clippers are always a dangerous team, especially when they get into the playoffs. I'm just not solely convinced on the Clippers just yet. The Mavs, they'll be there. As much as they've struggled-ish. I mean, I'm not worried about the Mavericks, okay? They have the Jazz coming up, which is gonna be a tough matchup if you don't have Luka. And then they play the Pistons, like they can beat the Pistons. Then they play the Pelicans, that should be a good game. Hopefully Luka will be back. Then they play the Warriors and the Jazz. They have a couple games against the Kings before the All-Star break. This like middle of the pack group, the Clippers, the Pelicans, the Mavs, the Warriors, the Timberwolves, and the Suns, there's a lot that will likely shift. The Suns are still without Devin Booker, obviously. We'll see how it goes though. I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited about all the basketball that we have to come. All right guys, so we have championship weekend set. I'm so excited. I'll be tweeting all game, you know it, as long as I'm not like drowning in alcohol because everything's gone wrong, or screaming so much that I can't physically type because I'm so excited. We'll see how it goes. Make sure you follow me on Twitter because I will be tweeting, and of course I will be back with another episode right before the Super Bowl. So excited. Check you guys later.